Fernando Alonso says he's happy his podium was returned after Aston Martin's appeal of his 10-second time penalty, with the FIA to issue a rule clarification in the coming week. Alonso was handed the wrap after the rear jack made contact with his car while serving his original penalty for being too far left of his grid slot. But the team was able to overturn it after providing video evidence of 7 different instances where cars were touched by the jack while serving a similar penalty and not punished further. Alonso is now just the 6th driver ever to score a century of podiums in F1, after Sir Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher, Sebastian Vettel, Alain Prost, and Kimi Räikkönen on 103. Sir Lewis Hamilton finished in 5th for the 2nd straight race in Jeddah, but on a weekend when he admitted he cannot connect with his new car. The 7-time F1 world champion has struggled to adapt to the W14. But while tyre degradation was better in Saudi Arabia, Hamilton felt lost on setup in qualifying and the race. "I just don't feel connected to this car. No matter what I do, no matter what I change, I can't get confidence in it. I'm at a bit of a loss," he said. Alain Prost says it'll be business as usual for Red Bull's Max Verstappen this year, with the 4-time F1 world champion stating that only outside perceptions change when you've got a dominant car. Prost was in an identical situation 30 years ago, when he was expected to walk his 4th title pre-season in the state-of-the-art Williams FW15C, but told F1's official podcast Beyond the Grid that the approach to the racing always remains the same.
Ask Max today because he has a dominating car. I mean, he's not going to change anything. He's going to try to win all the races he can and win the championship. And for me, it was the same.
The Styrian Hills will remain alive with the sound of Formula One until at least 2027, following a new 4-year deal signed by Austrian Grand Prix promoters Project Spielberg last week that will see the ever-popular race with its energetic atmosphere remain at the Red Bull Ring. 2023 is set to mark the 10th year since the Austrian events returned to the calendar, the 12th F1 race since 2014, with 4 held in 2 years during the pandemic and the last on its current deal. The energy drinks brand's track remains a classic, having once formed a part of the fearsome old Österreich ring that hosted F1 from 1970 to 1987. Mounting safety concerns saw the track rebuilt in 1995 with a shortened A1 ring layout, which was used from 1997 to 2003. 5 years later, a €70 million reconstruction paved the way for F1's return from 2014, the opening season of the hybrid era. Plans for a London Grand Prix have again emerged, with a street race part of a new redevelopment proposal for the Docklands. Talk of a London race is not new in F1, with a former McLaren sponsor devising a track layout around the city's landmarks in 2012 to boost PR ahead of the British Grand Prix.
I think it could be just incredible, and you know, the Monaco Grand Prix is good fun, street circuit's always good fun. The Silverstone Grand Prix is the best because it's our home Grand Prix, and it seems to be the most packed Grand Prix we go to, and the atmosphere from the roaring fans make it that much better. But I can imagine if you bring that to London and multiply it by 10, 20, you know, you get 100,000 people times 20, well, whatever it is, it would be insane.
But while 2012's idea was fanciful, the latest proposal from environmental experts LDN Collective and consultancy firm DAR would see a 22-corner, 5.86-kilometer track built as part of a bid to transform the Docklands into a world-class waterfront destination. The pitch is yet to be considered by F1, but is a more pragmatic solution for a second race in the UK to complement Silverstone. Alpine's Pierre Gasly can breathe a sigh of relief following news that the FIA has updated its penalty point system for 2023 to focus on incidents that are deemed unsafe. Since the system was introduced in 2014, stewards could award points for both safety and sporting infringements, with more than 12 over a 12-month period, forcing a mandatory one-race ban. Triggering fears from drivers like Gasly, who was sitting on 10 points until May 22, that he could sit out a race for his new employer. Aston Martin's Lance Stroll is his closest rival on 8 points. But following the rule change, the stewards will now only hand out points for unsafe driving and not sporting infringements. Red Bull's roadshow ran on last week in Mumbai, India, where F1 veteran David Coulthard revved up the subcontinent with a show run along Seaside Promenade Bandra Bandstand. Coulthard, in the 2011 RB7 car that won the inaugural Indian Grand Prix and that year's F1 World Championship, put the hammer down along the 1.2-kilometer track with a brilliant plume of color to celebrate the recent Hindu Holi festival. 2023 marked Red Bull's second showrun visit to Mumbai and the fourth in India after New Delhi and Hyderabad. But while an Indian Grand Prix return is unlikely without changes to the government's tax and import regulations, Coulthard believes the nation deserves a place on the calendar.
I think to have a true world championship, you've got to be represented in all the major economies of the world. India is obviously a big population. It's a very creative country with a lot of brain power.
Haas F1 team has denied allegations from American broadcaster PBS that its parent company broke Russian sanctions, stating that the story is false, both in its overall impression and in many of its statements. PBS's story, dated March 14, alleged Haas Automation is doing ongoing business with the Russian arms industry via its official distributor, Abamet Management Limited, in violation of sanctions. But Haas says it has always been in compliance with sanctions, that it terminated its relationship with all Russian companies on March 3, 2022, and that no machines have shipped there since. Additionally, at the time it terminated its relationship with Abamet in March, Haas voluntarily cancelled 50 existing machine orders from Abamet, even though such orders may have been permissible under then-existing US export control and sanctions regulations, said the Haas statement. Red Bull was flying high in Saudi Arabia with its second straight 1-2 result for a truly dominant start to the season, but also in Dubai, where Polish pilot Luke Cepiela became the first person to land a plane on the helipad at the Burj Al Arab Jumeirah. Red Bull previously hoisted its F1 car onto the helipad for donuts in 2013 to celebrate its fourth straight world title double, but the brand was back last week to take things to the next level, with Cepiela bringing his Cub Crafters-built STOL aircraft to a stop in just 20.76 meters, 212 meters above the ground.
And we've managed to put a plane on a helipad 200 meters above the ground on the most iconic, the most beautiful building in the world, which is absolutely fantastic, you know. So, yeah, I couldn't be happier. We started to make a history here.
The Polish pilot, who won 2018's Red Bull Air Race World Championship in the Challenger class, said the best reward from his achievement was in the dramatic takeoff after it. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.